What's up, YouTube? I'm just doing a video today about my kid's 2007 Yamaha Raptor 80 and what I had to go through to find a decent set of rims and tires for it. So the quad used to have 7-inch rims all the way around, a little bit wider in the back than the front. They were just like round tires, nothing special. So initially I was just looking for a set of tires. I couldn't really find a good tire that would give me this square, low profile stance and skinny enough in the front to where I felt like it was worth it. So I went online and I found a set of rear rims that have the I thought it was M10, but it's M8 by 3. I think it's like 3 by 190 or something like that. I forgot what the pattern is, don't quote me on it. But anyway, I found a set of rear rims, but the front rims were 4 by 88 millimeter with in the manual it says M10 by 1.25 lugs. So I couldn't find a set of front rims. They just did not exist. So I put in Yamaha Raptor 90, which is the newer model, and the Raptor 90 has 4 by 110 millimeter with a M10 by 1.25 pitch. So I was like, all right, well, I'll just get a set of adapters and get bigger 10-inch rims from a Yamaha Raptor 90 and then get the rear rims, which coincidentally it's the same company, same finish, Douglas Racing, front and rear, exactly the same. And then what I had to do was find a set of adapters. So in the manual it said M10 by 1.25. So I did some crazy redneck math and tried to figure out, based on the old rims offset and the new rims offset, and then the front ones, which they came a little bit more narrow. So I lost an inch in the front and I gained like 3 inches in the back. So I wanted the front track, which it is now, to be a little bit wider than the rear so it's safer for my kid to drive. Because if I had just left the front like they were, the front wheels would have been set in farther than the rear wheels, which if anybody knows, that's dangerous. So I went to US Wheel Adapters in Lubbock, Texas. Fantastic company. I really cannot say enough about them. Huge shout out. They make them for cars, trucks, whatever, you name it, ATVs. So I basically said, hey, I need a 3-inch front spacer that goes from a 4 by 88 millimeter to a 4 by 110 millimeter lug, and they're both M8 or M10 by 1.25 pitch. So they made them. It took a few weeks. They're custom milled. When they came, the lug nuts that they sent, which are a tapered lug nut, because inside the spacer it's tapered at the bottom like a normal car's like conical shaped lug nut, so it seats in there nice. They were way too big for the factory lugs on the quad. So I was like, I took the lug nut down to the hardware store and threaded it on, and the lug nuts they sent me were M10 by 1.25 pitch. But the quad, I took one of the lug nuts that came off the quad, which is one of these regular flat with the grippies on the back. I forgot what they're called. I took one of those off the quad from the factory, and it turns out it was M8 by 1.25 pitch. Now I have the exact manual for this quad. It is from this quad this year, and it said M10 by 1.25. So I spent like $300 on the spacers. They were absolutely useless. I couldn't use them. Now they make like a threaded sleeve that slides over M8 and it goes to M10, but I didn't really want to do that. So they don't make a conical shaped M8 lug nut. So I called US Wheel Adapters back. I said, look, I know you're not going to give me a refund. They're custom made. They were super cool about it. I said, this is what I need. So in the recessed hole, let me see if I can get down here. So the recessed hole in here that has the factory lug nuts, I said, I don't want it tapered at the bottom. I just want it flat milled so I can use the flat back lug nuts that came on the quad. But I do still want a 4 by 88 pattern, but it has to be an M8 hole. And the guy was awesome. I think his name was Doug. He's like, all right, I'll just make them like a couple thousandths bigger so they fit tight, because they're not hub centric, they're lug centric. So if there was any kind of slop or play, the wheel would be doing one of these situations. Sorry about my hand. They'd be doing like one of these situations and it would be really bad. So he absolutely nailed it. I mean, when they sent me the new one, it was exactly what I asked for, and I had to pay for it. And because that's not how their machine is set up, they're set up to do conical shaped ones. He's like, look, it's going to take us a little while longer to switch the parts out in their machine, but we can do it. And he charged me the same amount. Normally it'd be a little cheaper, because I ended up putting I basically just held up the 3-inch ones, and it was like way too wide. I did my math wrong or whatever, or maybe the offset wasn't exactly what it said it was. It ended up being way too wide, so I ended up getting a 2-inch one. So you can see the spacer behind the rim. So it's just a big milled piece of like billet aluminum. So anyway, long story short, they worked out perfect. But that is what you've got to do if you have an older Raptor 80 and you want to put real good tires and rims. You got to get the front rims from a Raptor 90, and then get a spacer adapter for a 4x88 to a 4x110. And then the rear ones, they make them still, but you can see this thing looks like a normal quad now. It has a nice high stance in the front track's a bit wider, and I just feel better about my kid being on it now, because now the front and the rear track are each, I think it's about 2 inches wider in the rear, and actually I think it's about maybe 1.5 inches wider in the front. I don't know, but they're both wider. I did too much math to have to think too hard about it at this point. But yeah, so needless to say, I've got a $300 paperweight now for the ones that didn't work. But boy, it looks sharp. And I just love these older machines. My kid has a 05 CRF. You might have seen the video. It's in my videos. But we just completely went over that thing and redid it. But they both have the big gun exhaust. Can't say enough about those exhausts, man. They sound fantastic. Let's see if you can hear it. But yeah, she's ready to scream. Peace, YouTube.